Hey, Jam.
Hey, buddy.
I want to see the shirt I'm wearing today because it has something to do with what we're talking about. Don't let the old man in. Now, I refuse to Google it because every time I wear it, I get in a conversation with somebody. And it has all these different origins, and I could probably find out the real one, but I like having the conversations. And, some people tell me it's from the Clint Eastwood movie, The Mule. Other people said Clint actually wrote the line because he uses it in real life. And Don't Let the Old Man In is Clint's 94 years old, still making movies. And somebody says to him, how do you keep going at your age? He goes, well, the old man keeps knocking. I just don't let him in. So it's his way of avoiding getting old. And it kind of comes to what we're talking about, to try to find a way to prevent apathy. Because we all get it. We all get doom and gloom. Sometimes you just don't want to get off the couch. We don't want to get out of bed. And I know how it affects people with Parkinson's. It's, your affliction is exhausting, and everybody has every right in the world to say, you know what, I'm skipping that today. But you can't do it for too many days in a row. And I know we came up with this because you and I were talking about it offline. And I just don't know if you want to jump in with some of your experiences, but I experience it too. I think most people do. And the world's pretty overwhelming right now. And you don't need the affliction of Parkinson's on top of it to make it more overwhelming.
Well, I think, look, I'm not a professional. I mean, I've only been living with this for 12 years, almost 13. Probably longer than that, but that's diagnosis was 12 years ago. And the things that consistently seem to work, but I, like anybody else. So, I mean, I'm here, and all the messages that I put out, they're honest, they're sincere, the things I've learned along the way, the things I've heard along the way. But honestly, I struggle with them every day of the week, every hour of the day, every minute of the day. You can consistently break it down, and I'm struggling with, like, look at my hand. This is how I'm making a point like this. I mean, it does what it wants to do. And the idea is, like, I was reading, I'm skipping around, so try to slow down.
Right.
I was reading an article about degenerative diseases, and what was interesting is they were people use it like these negative, negatively charged descriptions of what this disease is, insidious, wreaking havoc on the well-being of a human, destruction at will, the disease that bankrupts a family. And I just thought for myself, I was sitting there just trying to take the other side of it, and I was like, what if I was Parkinson's disease? And I'm like, what are you talking? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm actually doing what I do. This is what I do. This is how I do it. This is why I do it. It's nothing personal, man. It's nothing personal. And I started realizing that Parkinson's, while it is a very personal disease in the sense that no two Parkinson's patients are really alike. Right? There's not really a blood test that they can go in. I mean, as far as I know, they can't go in and say, oh, you got the B7-4 symptoms, and we'll give you this drug. It's all just kind of like very, very scientifically, approached. But in a lot of ways, I'm sure the scientists and the doctors scratch their heads as much as we do. The difference is when you're a person living with something like this, if you thought about where you're going or where you could be going, that's depressing. That's sad. So you don't think about that.
Right.
But apathy is something that nobody thinks about. It just does it just does it. And this is where I go all the way back when I talk about my diagnosis in 2012. And I was 46 years old, but I remember being newly married, probably by a year, because we bought a house real quick, right after we got married in 96. And Heidi used to go out, and I've told this story before, but Heidi used to go out and garden, and she loves the garden, and that's her thing, and I was never into it at all. To me, it's just tedious work I don't want to do. And I'm like, oh God, there's a worm. Well, I don't even know what that is. It's like a hard shell. Yeah, it's got legs.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my hands clean.
Oh, is the 49er game on? It's June, Jam. I think I hear the 49er game, but I gotta go, Well, the Giants are playing. The Giants don't play till tonight. Well, it's a pregame of the pregame of the pregame. So, and
I
I was sitting
used
on
to
the
go.
couch, but I look at myself today and I'm doing the exact same thing. So is that really a Parkinson's behavior? Is it really just a behavior that's inside of me? For some reason, my mind goes, hey, you know what, dude? We're lazy. I don't think that's the case. I think it's running from something, and something in my past. I have lots of psychiatrists and psychologists that I speak with, and holistic doctors, and I speak with medical doctors, and I speak with people that are like, I have, a general MD, and then it's like a laundry list of people that are on the payroll. And every week I'm like $75 copay, $45 copay. Thank God for insurance.
Right.
But the
But,
point
but
is,
I was just going to say, I do agree with you that it's not strictly a Parkinson's thing because we all have it. But I think Parkinson's gives you another layer of weight on you to just be more apathetic.
well, it's an amplifier.
Yeah.
It basically really, like the guys in Spinal, this one goes to 11. We don't even look at it. We don't touch it. It goes to 11. You see, there's 11 right there. But I think about it, and it's like people ask me what my Parkinson's is like. Well, I'll tell you what my Parkinson's is like. If you ask me what's Parkinson's like, I'm going to give you some information, and you're going to go, my brother Steve or my cousin Vinny or whatever, does this, and I'm like, well, that's because there was a saying that I saw a trainer friend of mine, Josh Ripley, say, if you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's.
That's right.
And so the idea is that it is individual. It is something that we struggle with every day. But what scares me now more than anything, and I use the word scared because I do get scared. I'm not a superhero. I'm not a superhuman. I'm not like on some amazingly rigid workout. I walk as much as I can. I box when I can get there. I have some stipulations that are holding me back. Nothing physical and nothing mental. It's more financial than anything. And so, I look at it as, all right, what can I do? And then I think I'm talking to people that go, yeah, I'm on a strict walking regimen. And they're like, what do you walk for, like 15 minutes? Like 15 minutes. I do 2.5 to 5 miles, well, not really 5, maybe 4. And they're like, oh my God. I mean, they immediately think because I have Parkinson's, I can't do it. I'm like, I can walk. I may shuffle a little bit along the way. I may have to slow my gait down and pick it up in certain areas, but I can walk. And what's interesting is I've had people call me and say, I can't get my mom to do anything. I can't get my dad to try anything. Can I give them your number? Would you give us your email address? I'm like, it's all there. Just hit me up on Instagram, hit me up wherever you want to hit me up, and I will talk to you about what I've done. And people say, you look amazing for being diagnosed in 12 years. Well, I'm like, okay, but you're not here in the middle of the night when I'm shuffling to get from the credenza to the bookshelf to get some water, and I'm up on my feet, and I've fallen a fair amount to the point where I have to pay attention to it now. I just can't. I'm not like a guy at second base who can go side to side as easily as he can go forward and backwards. I go side to side and I go, right. I'm on the ground. So I think that it's very hard to describe what Parkinson's is going to bring you. But I will say, if apathy is something you have, or as other people call it, laziness or procrastination or whatever that is, avoidance, it really is. Like I have been sitting here and I don't know if it's my brain, my body both going, dude, you have a job. I have to work for a multitude of reasons. And I was thinking about it, like, well, wouldn't it be great if I was older or had not gone through the financial changes that we went through with our business. So forth and so on, it's all water under the bridge. But I'm telling my body, I'm like, dude, we got to get up. I mean, and like, what'll happen is I'll be sitting there working, and I'll be working fine for 45 minutes, an hour, hour 15, sometimes less, sometimes more. And all of a sudden I'll be like, man, I can't even lift my shoulder. And so this starts, and then I go and I sit down, and if I focus on it, then I start going like this, and I start getting this little kind of thing. So then I'm like, I can't sit still. So I'm going, all right, well, let's just take your mind off it. Let's just put the TV on. And the TV drones on. And then at a certain point, I click in. So my mind shuts off. Then I forget about what time it is. So I got to set the timer so I don't go. So I'm not like here 3 hours going, oh, I got to, whistle, and that kind of thing. Because I love my job. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. That's sincere. But I hate the fact that they're not seeing me at 100%. They're not seeing me as the guy who produced shows all over the United States, all over the world for that matter, interviews, documentaries, whatever we were doing. I was 24/7, and
you were.
I'm not that guy anymore, and it's not because of me. It's just because of the way things are in my life currently.
It's a few things though. It's we're getting older, and you were 24/7. But you know what? I think you give, because you do like your job. You talk about it a lot. I think you give 100% of what you can give without the interferences. I know, again, we're talking about apathy, and I know some days it's just hard to just, move 2 steps forward. And I'm not talking about Parkinson's, just going. And but that's separate, because when you're on and you're feeling well, I know you're giving them 100% of what you can give.
Well, I will be honest, just as much as I focus on the things that I'm, here's my motto: focus on what you can do, not what you can't do.
Right.
But I'm literally saying, my hands are rigid. Bradykinesis is kicking in. If I don't, I'm trying to talk to my body saying, don't say can't, because then you'll adopt that thinking. But I'm like, well, these don't type the way they should. Like right now, no problem. But what's interesting is that what you said is that when I do get to give them, and it switches. Like for a while there, for a couple of years, I was great in the morning. Like I would take 4 doses a day of Rytary, and I would, and I have a 5th if I need a kicker, like late, if I'm going out later into the night or something like that. And I just, I'm on or I'm off. And so it used to be that the ons were much longer and the offs were much shorter. And now they're starting to not even out. It's still the ons are much better. And the more exercise I do, which is like, let's say, walking. By the way, I meant to mention that if you're listening to this, one of the cool tricks you play on yourself is not cool, like fun tricks. Is my wife goes, let's go up and let's go get a walk in. And I'm like, a walk in? No, I don't want to do a walk right now. There's the apathy. I'm sitting on the couch. I've been here, work stopped an hour ago. You're getting home at 7:45, 8 o'clock. I was raring to go an hour ago, but now I'm kind of chilling out, sitting in the environment. And then she go, well, we'll go up and we'll get something to eat. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna walk 1.5 miles, eat, walk back 1.5 miles. She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, she's like, and we can each have a margarita. All right, I'm in. But the treat, of doing that psychologically works for me.
Sure.
If you said, hey, look, I need you to finish that thing in 20 minutes, and then I'll give you a dozen fresh baked cookies. I shouldn't eat the cookies. I know that. Even if you said they're gluten-free and they're sugar-free and whatever, which basically is just a piece of chalk at that point. But it's like that incentive, like, incentivize doing what you do. If you're really struggling with apathy and you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to go to walk on your treadmill, or you don't want to do chair exercises, or you don't want to do yoga, whatever, all those things are wonderful. You don't want to ride your bicycle, then make a deal with yourself. So you get me to here and I get something. And then you get me to here and I get something. Or I get you to here, you get a treat, And I know it sounds ridiculous, but and with me, it's always candy or sweet. So that's why my wife goes, no, you're not doing that deal, because you'll be eating, hot tamales and Skittles, you'll walk 10 miles to get a bag of those. So
let's get back to, you were talking about form. You take your meds like 4 times a day.
Yeah, I take.
And the ons are getting shorter. You think you need adjustment?
Well, here's what I've been doing. When I first got diagnosed, they tried to have me get on. I won't even remember the name of it now. It's so long ago. It really didn't work. It was supposed to be rumored to slow down the degeneration of Parkinson's, but it wasn't it wasn't the case at all. So then eventually I wanted to hold off going on levodopa carbidopa because as though it is the gold standard and a great drug, it comes with its sidekicks, which are like dyskinesia and that's again, it's like an amplifier in some cases,
and like I said, everybody's a little different. So
exactly, yeah. Exactly. Like I really don't have a tremor. I will get like if I'm in some kind of a situation where I can get like talking to somebody and we're going on and my hand starts to do a little bit of this. But I don't really get tremors or rigidity. I get dyskinesia and I get bradykinesia. And the dyskinesia comes from trying to take care of the bradykinesia.
What is bradykinesia?
Rigidity.
Oh, like, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's rough.
You've been with me when I've gotten rigidity.
Oh, man, yeah, it's scary.
So that kind of led to me taking the carbidopa levodopa, and I was doing like, I think at the end I was doing 2 pills every 2.5 hours.
Okay.
It was really like it started at 4 hours and then it was like winding down. And I said, I just think this is too much medication, man. I think it's too much medication. And so they put me on, I said, what about like a time release or something that I don't have to take as many pills? So they put me on Rytari, and it took a while to get used to, and then it's evened out. And I take like 2 big pills with one. That's how I described it. The doctor goes, what kind of, I go, Rytari, the 2 big ones and the little one. And he goes, I need them one, so it's like go through all that stuff. But then I wanted to titrate down. So I used to be doing 2 + 1. So the 2 were the bigger load. This was a smaller load. And then I started taking the 1 away. So I was just doing 2, 2, 2, 2. And that was great for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. But like I said, in the morning, I used to be ideal. Now it's kind of switched. I'm more rigid in the morning, even if I get a good night's sleep. If I don't get a good night's sleep, all bets are off.
Yeah. You and lots of others like me.
Yeah, but what's frustrating is like when you talk to doctors, like, do you want something for that? Yeah, a cure. I don't want to take another pill because it's just too many pills.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, that reminds me, there is I recommend everybody checking it out, everybody that's listening. Her handle on Instagram is I'm Still Allie. Have you gone there yet?
Of course, yes. I like her.
I'm Still Allie, I think is IMSTILLALLIE. Is that right?
I believe that's it.
And she's an advocate with the Fox Foundation, and ironically, she got some similarities. So like I think again, I've never spoken with her. I do get her. She pops up on my Instagram. I don't post on Instagram a lot. I do more of the podcasting where we can talk more. I'm not that quick with the camera, so I don't. I try to do most of my stuff is always going to be talking. But she's great because she'll take you through her daily life and what she deals with her Parkinson's, and then she's got kids and a husband, and and they're going through a very similar thing that I went through. So, I really think that you can listen to a lot of stuff on the internet about Parkinson's, and most people are, and I will quote this by saying, rightly so, angry. Right. Because when you're in your 50s, like if you were in your 50s 40 years ago, people would be like, it's the thing that I got. I'm going to go sit on the porch, smoke cigarettes, drink my martinis, and watch the end of the world or the end of my world. So it's sort of like now people are living to 100, and it's not that it's not that hard to. What was it when we were younger people? Smuckers, the oldest people, and what was the weatherman? He was on ABC or NBC.
Oh yeah, and he used to read people. Yeah, Willard Scott.
Willard Scott, and he used to do something with the Smuckers presents people over 100 years old.
Yeah,
like Melba Ray, and she is from someplace in the country, and And you're like, what did she do every day to be 105?
Right.
You know, I mean, and it's just like, I mean, I honestly believe, Vinny, in a lot of ways, and the more I research it, the more it kind of shows up, is that I don't want to say this is self-fulfilling prophecy, or what's the term I'm searching for, where you kind of manifest it. You know, you manifest this sickness. Because going back to the gardening, the point I wanted to make was, here was my new bride in our new house putting in a garden, and all she wanted to do was talk to me. But I was on the couch with a beer, and she's like, bring your beer out here. There's a lawn chair right here. You can sit in the shade. I know you don't want to sit in the sun. And I would be like, babe, I don't feel good. I don't feel good came out of my mouth more times than I love you. You know what I mean? And I love her. So the point I'm saying is that it was amazing how many times I passed up on an opportunity that would have been priceless. And why was it priceless? Because it wasn't attached to anything external. It was attached to us. It was an experience between us. And one day I said, I got so angry because she goes, you know what, Jim? Every weekend we're in here, we're working on this house. You'll go to the Home Depot with me. You'll go to Lowe's. You'll go to the nursery. But when you won't come and sit with me, well, all I want you to do is sit here while I have somebody to talk to. And I felt shame, and because I felt like I'm really not giving her the easiest thing to give her, which is conversation.
Right.
That I just felt terrible, and I felt like, so then I'd get angry because I didn't like that fear. I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like to feel the way I did. So then I got mad at myself for feeling that way. And I used to say to her when we would get in kind of a really disagreement, I'd say, one of these days, you're going to rue the day that they come to me and they say, Mr. Kenny, you've got XYZ. I didn't know what XYZ was, but I would say that. And I wouldn't say like, oh, you got cancer, because you say that flippantly. And then somebody goes, my mom died of cancer, or, whatever. You don't throw that out there in a fit of rage, but when I was diagnosed, I came home, and she was there, and she said, what did they say? And I said, and I was really hard to even say it, and still to say it, I've got Parkinson's. And I expected her to like cry or whatever. And she looked at me for a second, and she goes, so this is a big FU, huh? I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, the big FU. This is the rue of the day. I had completely forgotten about it. She remembered it. And so for a while there, she was reeling, and we are really good to each other. But when it comes to sickness and scary sickness, like what you went through, and your beautiful wife, and Heidi had the same thing, and then I had this, which was a little bit different, or the heart issue. It's like the one you expect to go there and be the total, like, I got this, everybody over my back, I'm taking care of everything. You go live your lives. I will sacrifice. That person runs for the hills, and it's the one who's never said anything, who quietly steps up and says, what do you need, man? And so she kind of reeled. Like I reeled. When I got her, when she called me when I was on location, and she said, you got a minute? I'm like, that was always like a telltale sign that something was either troubling her or needed immediate attention. And I said, yeah, what's up? And she goes, I want to tell you this. I don't want you to come home. I think you are where you should be. You're with your people, doing the film. Don't come home, because it's going to take a while anyway. So you'll probably be home when you guys wrap. And she said, I have breast cancer. And I just remember being in Miami, leaving the set, and I was parking my parking spot, and the windshield wipers going with the raindrops dropping, and it was just like so weird. I was alone, and I had no idea what to say, and so I thought, I'm going to lose my wife. That was a second. The first thought was, oh my God. The second thought was, I'm going to lose my wife. I'm going to be without a wife. Well, what the hell am I going to do without a wife? Who cares? It's not about you.
That's right.
It's not about me at all. And so when a couple of years later, when the tables were turned, if you will, she had the same kind of reaction. She was like, "Who's going to take care of us?" I mean, I stay at home, been a stay-at-home mom for 18 years, you know. And I said, we'll figure it out. But we had no idea the tidal wave that was coming behind us. I mean, the beach was calm at this point. And so we focused on this disease. And I stayed in the closet for 4 years. I mean, I didn't tell anybody really. I mean, people that matter.
Right. Yeah. No, you
But
did.
well, I mean, everybody matters. That was a terrible word to say, but I mean, people that were needed to know immediately, and then people that I could gradually tell was really the easier way of putting it. And some people were like astounded by it. Some people were like, "You're kidding me," and some people cried, and it was like, and so I take on all those emotions. Empathetically, I feel what they're feeling. I'm bringing you pain. I don't mean to bring you pain. Well, I feel sorry for you. I don't want you to feel sorry for me, because then that's bringing you pain. I mean, we have. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but you're hitting on why we started this whole project. Your positivity, and we would be lying if we both said both of us were so positive 24 hours a day. But you do tend to look at the glass half full, and you do tend, and I think that great attitude has some sort of healing, and get you through these days. And you do, like when we're about to get on the air here, or whatever you want to call it. Once we're on, it is, we tend to go long, and that's the way you are in life. Once you get started on your thing, you tend to plow through, and I think that's a positive, and that's kind of a message to people where you go, it's like, I don't want to go to this party, but once you get there, you're going to have a good time. And that is really where you go, and that's the message we're trying to get out to anybody who's listening to us, is that everybody experiences that. I don't want to do this, but for the most part, once you start to do it, you're very happy you started. And that's how I see you. And then advocacy, you were talking about, the two A's.
Advocacy is a whole nother thing. I brought up this lady Allie because she's got a cheery disposition, but she'll also at the same time, cry on camera and let you see that side of her. And there was just a big Parkinson's bill passed in the House.
Right.
I forget what it's called, but it's now like a pointed degree of research to find a cure for Parkinson's. And so that's one degree of advocacy. And she shot up. I mean, she just like became huge. And I think that's great, because ideally, when you're alone, or when you're in, or I should say when I'm alone and when I'm in a dark place, it's very easy to think like, why did I, what did I do? How did this happen? And I'm like, if I spent my life if I spent my life differently, not worrying about every little thing, and turning most of them, 75% of them, into negative experiences that didn't exist, that didn't actually happen, but I ran them through my brain like they did. I called Vinny. He had to go. I asked him one more question. He's like, I gotta go. And he hung up the phone. Now he's not talking to me. He hasn't answered my emails in 2 days. He hates me. Because he's mad that because he had to, and then you go, oh no, dude, I was going to the bathroom, and I basically needed you to hang up so I could get in the toilet, and you wouldn't hang up, so I had to hang up for you. Whatever. I mean, it's a silly little gutter response, but the idea that and Michael Fox said something like when I first got diagnosed, I saw this quote by him that said, if you worry about something and it doesn't come to fruition, you just wasted that time. And then if you worry about something and it does come to fruition, which most of the time is not the case, then you got to worry about it all over again. So, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, is one of the greater sayings, I think, and has been so simplistic for so many years. Like, why are you worrying about how we're crossing the bridge? We may not even get to the bridge.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the war may be over before we have to take that bridge. I mean, so I think that talking about things like living in the moment allow you to think like, all right, what would advocacy look like to me? And for you and I, it was, you'd help me and you to do this podcast together because, that's a great way for us to communicate. It's something we understand. We're both media guys. We've been in the media for our whole careers. And not that every podcast is media, not that every podcast is a show, whatever, but this one is to hopefully reach people so they will go to parkinsonswellnessfund.org, parkinsonswellnessfund.org, and realize what this group of people is doing for everybody. I mean, this is not limited to your geographical area. It's not limited to your country. It's limited to your ability to fill out an application or have someone do it for you and be able to prove that you have Parkinson's. And then you have your ask. I need a wheelchair. I need somebody in the house 2 days a week. I need boxing lessons. I need, I need to find something that's really good for me. I mean, I think a community is the best thing you got going for you.
Yeah.
And like I said at the golf tournament, I spoke at the Parkinson's Wellness Fund golf tournament back in June. And, like I said to you, Vin, I'm like, I kind of have these notes of ideas I want to talk about, but I really think I just want to talk about friendship and the importance of friendship to a person with Parkinson's. And it has to be a two-way street. Anybody can offer help, but if you don't receive it well, then it's, you miss the shot.
Right.
But if you welcome people that want to help you, and I believe most of you, if not all of your friends, want to do something for you. And I used to marvel at, like, back in the day when I was a kid, probably like 8 years old, and somebody would pass away in the neighborhood, everybody would bring food.
Right.
And it wasn't just like for you to eat now. You put these in the freezer, you could have them in June, and it was December. And we made some raviolis. We got plenty of cans of sauce or gravy, whatever you call it. And
Right.
put them in the freezer, and it was amazing because it was like, we don't know really, we don't have a lot of money. We can't like just give you cash if you need money, but we can help guide you in a way or help make you feel like you have support and you have the people have your back.
And that was the neighborhood, that was the community. And, that was the first time I met so many people from parkinsonswellnessfund.org. What a great group of people. I felt like I knew them my whole life. And they're all about doing good for the afflicted. It's just an incredible organization. It just I'm proud to be associated with it, and I hope you and I can together help it grow. Filling out those applications, finding out if they can help you out. They probably can. And they're just a phenomenal group of people, and everybody needs a village. Everybody needs that community, and that's the advocacy that you're advocating for.
Well, I mean, sorry to cut you off. I think that
No.
One of the most, this is a feeling that I have, but in a time in our society where we are becoming more and more inward, people do
Right.
not go to the office anymore. They don't have business luncheons anymore. Lunches. The meetings, they don't fly to Chicago to have a meeting with a couple of guys to talk about what the Raiders of the Lost Ark box is going to look like at Best Buy. The idea is that we're all becoming like locked in the house and
a little more isolated.
It's really funny. Like, I think it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest when he asked about the other guys that are in his little group, and she says, "Oh no, these guys are volunteer. I mean, they can leave anytime they want, but they don't." And so, if you think about it, you're not trapped. I say I feel like I'm trapped in this house. Blah blah blah. I'm not trapped. I'm not held down. I'm not. These are all thoughts that are put in my head that don't exist, but I will wrestle with them for 4 or 5 hours, and all of a sudden I'll go, well, it's almost dark now. I can't go out for my walk, or it's like layer upon layer.
Yeah.
And like this morning, Heidi, I mean, perfect example. We went to bed reasonable hour, binged a little bit of The Bear. Have you seen this, by the way? Did I ask you?
Absolutely great show.
Okay, yeah. So I just started it, and so we binged a little bit of that last night. We went out for a nice dinner. Had a great. We should do a food review on the show. What'd you have last night? Well, I had mahi mahi at Mercado, like like we're important people. But my God, talk about like when you really, and I'm going off on a tangent here, I know.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. We'll go back to the food. I want to finish the thought on moving inward. I also believe that Parkinson's is a disease that moves you inward because you don't like the way your body looks. You don't like the way your body moves. You don't like the way you sound. You don't feel you make sense. I mean, this brain fog or this like cloud of like, what the hell is going on? Am I even speaking properly? That all weighs in to why it's vitally important to have somebody who just checks in on you. And I have all of you guys. And the cool thing about the golf tournament was that 10 of my friends that go back as far as the 6th grade in Northern California came. I mean, you and I have been friends for 20 some odd years now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about that, that's 20 years. And then these guys go back like 40 some odd years. And they all came to support me. One of the girls that we have a group that stays in touch because we, believe it or not, have been doing reunions. We just have had our 40th reunion, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So we keep in touch. We have a little chat and we wish each other happy birthday, or if somebody's got some news about one of their kids graduating or something cool, or if there's a general bit of news for somebody who's no longer with us. It's sort of a way to keep up to date without spending a lot of time. That's where I think that Instagram and all that stuff can be really cool. But it was amazing that I was able to talk about the importance of friends who haven't run. Have got, as a friend of mine said, your circle of friends, as you tell them what's going on in your life, will get tighter and tighter and tighter. And so I feel like if you get yourself out to somewhere, whether it's the rec center, whether it's a senior center, whether it's, go by the pool if you're on a walker, go find a way to manufacture getting down there and just stay out of the house for a while, because the house offers the creature comforts of the couch, the bedroom, the food, the booze, whatever you got. It's got all the things to keep you motivated to do nothing. And I think that this is what this disease really does, is it takes away the joy of experiencing the world outside our doors.
Which is why we're sending this message. I know it isn't easy, but you got to try. Like you just said, you got to get out. You got to get off the couch. I think we're past a half hour at this point.
All right.
So I was thinking maybe we should wrap. And but that's what the whole thing is. I mean, it's age, but don't let the old man in. But don't let the apathy in. You just can't let it overtake you. And just keep fighting the good fight, and do your best to keep everything that's preventing you from doing things at bay. So
I agree. I mean, 4 bullet points. It's not what you can't do, it's what you can do. Stay focused in the moment. Get out of the house. Do some exercise or something for yourself, or do it in the house and then get out of the house for a walk. And none of these are in pecking order, but get a community. Get some people that can help you out. I mean, my dad had a stroke at 83. I guess he'll be 86 this year. Body's for the most part pretty fine, but mind can't put a sentence together. But he doesn't want to do anything. He wants to stay in his old patterns. He doesn't want to. My mom set him with this with a companion for a day, where the guy will, somebody in the like mind and age will come and pick him up, and they'll go out for a coffee, or they'll just talk about things that are going on. But because he can't really formulate a sentence, he feels like he's minimalized at best. And then, of course, all of his other vices of, wanting to have a drink, or wanting to do this, or wanting to eat cookies, or, I mean, he's probably not going to change, but yet I took him to, we went to our home, and they have a fair that was in there for like 2.5 weeks, and we went and watched the horse races. He loves it, but he kept trying to hand me money, and I said, well, we'll settle up at the end of the day. I'll take care of all the bets. You just tell me which horses you like, and we'll go from there. And he goes, let me buy a beer. I want to buy a beer. And I said, well, I'll let you buy a beer, but I'll pay for it so you can sit here. And then I thought, well, maybe that's not fun for him. So we bought him the beer. He didn't even really go through half the beer. And then we got up to go walking around, and he put his hand in his pocket. And he's like, how much do I owe you? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, this is how much it is. And he gave me $100 bill. And I said, I'll give you back 25. And he goes, where's the money that I won? I'm like, none of our horses won. He didn't know that. He kept seeing like 137, and he was playing a superfecta. For those of you that are in the horse racing will know what that is. But it's like a dime a combination. So if you think 6 is going to win, 5 is going to come in second, then you box that. So that way, if they come in different either order, that you win. For 10 cents, so that's 20 cents, and you pick like 5 or 6 horses, and you just baseball. So it's like a $2.10 bet.
Right.
It's called a superfecta. And so he wasn't realizing that he was looking at the top 3, and he was not paying attention to the 4 horse. So he's like, I got 137. I go, yeah, but you don't have 12. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, 12 is the one that won. You have 9. But I got 137 in the top, but this doesn't count. That just because you played a superfecta. A what? But he had a good time. When he got out of the house, he had a good time. When he sits in the house, he watches the Giants game to like the news, to the news, to the news. He'll yell at the TV when it comes to politics come on, or another Giants game, or it's a Niner game, and he wants to eat when he wants to eat, and he wants to dessert, and then he wants to go to bed. I mean, the man's a professional napper. But, I don't know. I mean, I think that I see myself sometimes trucking down the same road he is. Because it's easy to go, I got Parkinson. People go, I know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's dumb to do that, but at the same time, it is reality.
Right.
All right, I'll let us go there. I know got a couple of these things. I know we have a couple of cool interviews coming up, don't we?
Yeah. We a couple of people have expressed interest in coming on the show. I just got to meet them and then and schedule a time, pull them on. So we'll keep it a surprise until we nail everything down. But yeah, we're going to keep chugging along. We'll have guests. We'll continue to have topics, and we hope people continue to tune in and tell other people about it. And of course, please donate to Parkinson'sWellnessFund.org. Awesome organization, grassroots. They don't look for cures or anything like that. You can donate to other charities for that. But this helps, like Uber rides for people with Parkinson's to get to their doctor's appointments. They do all kinds of great stuff. So please go to the website and check it out. There's some fun stuff on there, and like me and you, and donate and keep us alive. And we're going to keep this as lively as we can. So, all right, my friend, I'll be seeing you soon.
Everybody, be well. Thanks for doing this with me. Appreciate it.
Love you, man. See ya.